Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Elizabeth Gadley. 100 homes are still in danger of going up in flames. Chico officially has a new police chief tonight. We start tonight with breaking news. North State firefighters are doing everything they can to keep a blaze in Happy Valley from spreading. Cheetahs are amazing creatures. I got to see one up close at one point and they're just pretty awesome. Love to see cubs though.
Okay, pretty fast?
It didn't run for me, so I'm assuming it was fast. The nation is still in shock over the one-man assault on a crowded movie theater in Aurora, Colorado that left at least 12 people dead and 58 injured. I never did try to fry an egg,
We
though.
could try it next week.
We should try it.
103. Elizabeth?
Kara Allen, hundreds of people have been out here in front of the Chico Walmart to learn some very valuable lessons, but also to have fun. Easy to use and a great new way to see the city. So you can come out to play on the Segway, stay for the tour. In Reading, I'm Elizabeth Gadley, Action News. This may not look like much, but it's actually gold ore. They don't use any chemicals to process it. What they do is they pulverize it and then sift out the gold. Finally tonight, more than 1,000 in Chico strapped on their running shoes and stripped off their clothes, all for a good cause. I was out there and I actually saw more of Chico than I ever expected to.
I bet you did. A whole lot more.
And that's all for this edition of the CW Action News at 10. Have a great weekend. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Elizabeth Gadley. Chico officially has a new police chief tonight. Interim Chief Kirk Trostel was sworn in today. The 24-year law enforcement veteran takes over for Chief Mike Maloney, who retired in April. Trostel says the city approached him about taking over for Chief Maloney, but he wasn't sure he would until his wife gave him the go-ahead.
In consultation with my wife.
Chief Trostel isn't the first police chief in Butte County to be promoted from within. In fact, some might say it's a county-wide trend. Action News reporter Court Klopping spoke with those responsible for the hirings to find out why this seems to have become the popular option.
Action News starts now.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Elizabeth Gadley. For the third straight day, Chico police are investigating a violent crime that happened in broad daylight. Today's may be the most terrifying as a pair of armed men forced their way into a home in West Chico while the family of four was inside. Action News reporter Brian Callahan has been following the story all day and has the latest.
A Chico family was shocked.
Both men were reportedly wearing long jeans, shorts, and T-shirts during the robbery and are believed to have headed down Nord Avenue when they left. Anyone who saw anything suspicious in the area is asked to call Chico Police at 897-4900. Chico Police are searching for two suspects in an early morning carjacking that happened not far from the home invasion robbery. Officers say two men armed with a handgun and shotgun confronted the driver of a Mercedes as he was leaving the Chevron station at Nord and West Sacramento Avenue around 3 this morning. Officers say one suspect blocked the path of the car, the other hit the victim in the face and pulled him out of the car. The victim was then reportedly kicked in the head and body before the suspects left the car. The carjacking came less than 24 hours after a man was robbed at gunpoint during an alleged drug deal.
It appears
the suspects are described as a black man in his 40s and a white man in his 20s. The car is a tan 2003 Mercedes with a Washington license plate. Anyone with information is asked to call Chico Police at 897-4900. Now we know the name of the man who drowned while swimming in Lake Oroville last night. Butte County authorities say 26-year-old Peter Cox Jr. of Hollywood, Florida, was in the water at Loafer Creek access area when he went under. That was just before 5 last night. Rescue crews and dive teams didn't find his body until after 7 o'clock. He was rushed to shore, but a medical team pronounced him dead at the scene. Park rangers believe he may have overexerted himself and that may have contributed to his death. They say they don't believe alcohol played a role, but they haven't ruled out the possibility. Now to the fires burning across the North State. In Trinity County, a blaze is still threatening 50 homes in the Shasta Trinity National Forest near Del Loma. The flat fire, which started Wednesday, is now 30% contained with more than 1,000 acres burned. The fire forced the closure of Highway 299 west of Weaverville for several hours, but the highway reopened yesterday to one-way controlled traffic. Governor Jerry Brown has called in more firefighters and the California National Guard to help battle a Placer County wildfire that has forced the evacuation of 300 people. Brown is sending in a state incident management team to help coordinate the attack on the Robbers Fire, which has consumed 13,000 acres and threatened 170 homes. The blaze, which is burning in a steep, heavily wooded area, also could endanger the small community of Colfax if it crosses into a nearby canyon. 5 helicopters and trained National Guard personnel have also been activated to help battle the blaze, which is just 10% contained. In Colusa County, the mill fire burning in the Mendocino National Forest is now 50% contained. Since it was first reported last Saturday, it's charred more than 25,000 acres. Turning now to weather, a nicer, cooler day around the North States, so will it stay this way through the weekend? For the latest on the conditions, we check in with Chief Meteorologist Chris Kuiper in the AccuWeather Center. Chris?
I was on my way out, and the clerk called me back to get my receipt.
Moments later, the gunman walked up to Timothy Kirsten, raised his 9mm pistol, and pulled the trigger. The gun misfired, so he shot again, and Kirsten fell to the floor.
When I got hit, I was out apparently for 6-8 minutes, and I got up and walked out and drove the car away.
To look at him now, you'd never know he was shot in the back of the head. The only signs left are 2 small scars, one in the back of his neck and the other in front of his ear.
It cracked the skull, and I had, I think, 5 skull fractures that went through the sinuses, and there was air in the cranium and the skull and all that. But I don't, you just get back on the horse and get going.
And that's very much Kirsten's attitude. He says not only has the ordeal made him appreciate his life, it made him stronger emotionally and physically. Through it all, he's kept his sense of humor.
Physiologically, I'm probably stronger and better than I was a year ago. Okay. I don't recommend this as a therapy. Okay, in a shot therapy.
Kirsten admits that not remembering the day does make it easier to have a positive outlook.
The others were all conscious, and I went out like a light. Okay, and so I didn't have the grueling experience of being a hostage for 3 hours or 4 hours. Okay, that's an ongoing grinding trauma.
1 year later, all 3 employees who were held hostage inside this bank are still working here. They say community support is what's gotten them through it.
Bernie's always been a special branch, and the employees are very special. It says a lot about the support that they have from the community.
Pretty much everyone involved says they're focusing on the future and trying not to spend too much time looking back at the past and that fateful day.
We're feeling very good about, reaching this milestone and moving